So the Rose coach in Unrivaled finally decided to play Lexie Hull. Lexie Hull actually saw the floor. And what happened when Lexie Hull played more than like 4 minutes? Oh, the Rose win, first of all. They win.
Imagine yourself as Lexie Hull, who has only played 8 minutes in 2 games while watching from the sidelines as Angel Reese steals the show and forces her way to double-doubles. Then, all of a sudden, you get your chance and you blow it away with a 19-point performance, taking over and helping your team win for the first time.
And Lexie Hull goes 8 for 11 from the field and has 19 points, 3 assists, and 3 boards. 19, 3, and 3. She was the top scorer.
This is a story of tenacity, strategy, and the delightful taste of vindication. It's not just a comeback story. Lexie Hull recently demonstrated to everyone what occurs when talent is valued more highly than stat padding and why her accomplishments could hold the secret to releasing the full potential of the Rose Basketball Club. Are you prepared to leave? What specifically did she do to put Angel Reese in her place?
Hull's really stepping up because she barely played those first 2 games. And I do think with her barely playing those first 2 games, I don't think she did anything wrong. Like I even said at the time where I'm like, it's literally just the style of play their coach is trying to play that didn't suit Lexie Hull.
Let's go back to the Rose Basketball Club's first 2 unmatched games, when Lexie Hull was essentially invisible on the court. She played a grand total of 8 minutes. That's right, 8 whole minutes over 2 full games. And what's even more absurd is that while Hull was warming up, her team was losing like there was no tomorrow. The Rose Basketball Club began the season with 0 wins and 2 losses, and Hull could only watch and complain about how frustrating it was.
Imagine going from Christy Sides coaching, where she doesn't really want to play you, and no matter what you do on the court, it doesn't matter because your coach doesn't want to play you, and then eventually your coach figures it out and starts you and plays you 30 minutes a game and your team gets better.
Here's the thing. In the previous WNBA season, Hull's 3-point shooting percentage placed her among the league's top players. She is not a random player trying to find her footing. Rather, she is a proven 3-point shooter with significant defensive skills. She has the ability to make ends meet, but for some reason, she was left riding the pine.
Lexie Hull hardly played, and it was all within like the flow of whatever offense you run in Unrivaled. And also, she's obviously a really freaking good defender.
So, why was a player of Hull's caliber receiving almost no playing time? Something wasn't adding up, and fans began to wonder why Hull's defensive skills weren't being used when the team obviously needed a boost. This is where things get interesting. While Hull was relegated to the bench, her teammates were having trouble finding their rhythm, and several players were scoring in double figures, but it wasn't translating into victories. The defense had more holes than a slice of Swiss cheese, and the offense looked clumsy.
As we've seen from Melissa Thomas, like the points that are like the point guards that are doing really well, or the point forward type things that are doing well in this, aren't really pick and roll players. It's the ones that are sharing the rock and hitting cutters, hitting like 3-point players. Like it's not about the pick and roll. It's not as important in 3-on-3. Especially when you can push the floor and you can run, and athleticism is the most important thing.
And this is the truth. Fans and commentators couldn't help but notice Hull's lockdown defense during the few valuable minutes she spent on the floor. It was like watching a highlight reel, and if you fast forward a second and you'd miss her impact. The frustration was evident. Teammates were complaining, fans were tweeting their displeasure, and Hull, as always a professional and team player, seemed to agree that Hull deserved more playing time.
I think Lexie Hull is going to have she's going to have a solid Unrivaled, and thankfully she's stepping up, and I didn't think she did anything wrong in her first 2 games when she was on the floor. The coach just didn't fit her. She didn't fit the coach's system. Thankfully, the Rose switched it up a bit. They won.
The key question is how Lexie Hull went from being a bench warmer to a game changer in a single night. Was it a shift in tactics? Did the coach finally see his mistake? Or did Hull strike a bargain with the basketball gods? We'll go into more detail later. But first, why was she benched in the first place?
She's back to mid-season form. She really is. She's absolutely delivering on that double-double. That's right. Points, rebounds, and, of course, losses. Just in the same way that the Chicago Sky melted last year when her double-double streak started, she cost her team a game.
Lexie Hull may be the hidden weapon, as we discovered when we were all wondering why she was warming the bench. First things first, 3-on-3 basketball is very different. Let's examine why Hull's game is nearly tailored for the 3-on-3 format and unmatched, as the Rose Basketball Club has long needed. Beast has a lot more space to work with than a traditional 5-on-5 game because there are fewer players on the court. This isn't just about having space to breathe, it's also about creating opportunities. The action is more intense, the pace is quicker, and every player must be a threat on both ends of the court.
People are saying, oh, she should have never went to Unrivaled. I still think, look, she's getting paid, 100 something K, at least. Could be paid up to $250,000. She's everywhere. It's going to help her out. She drew the short straw with her team. The way the coach wants them to play is just not the way Lexie Hull is good at.
Now, let's talk about Lexie Hull. As you may know, she's a sharpshooter in 3-on-3, which is like bringing a flamethrower to a water balloon fight. With all that extra space on the court, players who can consistently drain shots from beyond the arc and make threes are considered the best in the NBA. However, Hull's game isn't just about offense in 3-on-3. When you're the only player guarding your opponent, there's nowhere to hide. This is where Hull truly shines. Her lockdown defense is the type of thing that gives opposing players nightmares in a format where one-on-one matchups can make or break a game. Hull's ability to defend is similar to possessing a concealed weapon.
Not only that, she's been good. The problem isn't that Lexie Hull has been garbage. Lexie Hull has played well. That's the weirdest thing, is that she's actually played well. There is one issue with Lexie Hull, which is why I think she's not playing, but I think she has actually played well. And their team lost again.
You're curious about what's even more bizarre. Hull has experience playing 3-on-1 basketball. She's been there, done that, and has the trophies to show it. She knows the ins and outs of this format, and it shows in her play. Hull has represented Team USA in international 3-on-3 competitions, bringing home some serious hardware that is priceless. However, look around the league players. Kayla McBride and Kate Martin are dominating for the LA Basketball Club. What do they have in common with Hull? They're all deadly from long range, and they're demonstrating game after game that a good three-point shooter is worth their weight in gold.
And then we saw Kate Martin have one of the best performances of the weekend with a double-double at the guard position off the bench in limited minutes, where she did unbelievable.
So why is Lexie Hull's style of play ideal for 3-on-3 basketball? It's easy. She has the whole package. Her accurate shooting spreads the floor and keeps opponents honest, giving her teammates opportunities. How did she use all of this in their most recent game? Her lockdown defense allows her to shut down the opposition's greatest player, and her familiarity with the format means she knows exactly how to optimize her strengths in this particular style of play.
But for Lexie Hull, at least now they're stopping running the constant pick and rolls. That was the worst part about it, is everything had to be a pick and roll. So the only players really scoring were Azare and Angel got some shots in, and that was really it. And at least this game was good today. This game really was good today.
The stage was prepared for a matchup with the basketball team that was absent. The Rose, still chasing their first victory, decided it was time to change things up, and boy did they ever. Gone were the days of pick-and-roll heavy sets and slow-plotting offense. Instead, they adopted a high-octane strategy centered on quick cuts and fast movement. It was like watching a totally different team, with Lexie Hull at the center of it all.
So a brick from Chelsea Gray, an offensive rebounder in Vandersloot. It's all from hustle plays, it's all from cutting, spotting up. A cut, Chelsea Gray hits her. It's the off-ball movement that was really nice. Lexie Hull posting up Courtney Vandersloot. I stand by this. I thought at the start Courtney Vandersloot was going to be the worst player in Unrivaled. She's not, but she's very poor.
It's not a typo, people. Let's discuss those 19 points in only 10 minutes. Hull wasn't just good. She was exceptional, but this is where things start to get really interesting. Driving to the hoop accounted for 14 of those points. This wasn't the Lexie Hull we had assumed. Rather, it was Lexie Hull 2.0, who attacked the basket with such fervor that defenders were left in their wake.
Sloot is very, very poor. Like Courtney Vandersloot, she shoots it off the dribble, bang. And then again, she goes and cuts on Vandersloot. Courtney Vandersloot, dear Lord. Like, then she's being guarded by Alia Edwards with the post fade. Like, Lexie Hull was doing a little bit of everything, but a lot of it was just her off-ball movement. A good screen by Brittany Sykes and a nice left-handed finish there.
Naturally, she continued to use her bread and butter. Those other 5 points, the free throw line, and beyond the arc's pure whole magic. It was like witnessing the ideal fusion of her previously developed aggression and newly discovered strengths.
They struggled to live with Lexie Hull, just as far as her cutting. It was just cuts, hustle plays, and she was just doing a lot of the little things. Like, she didn't do anything crazy other than, like, she made one or two decent drives. She made she made a really good cut. She made a really, really good cut. She made really good cuts, and that's really it. Like, it just shows how much off the ball movement matters.
Let us now examine this performance from a different angle. Despite playing little minutes, Hull's efficiency was incredible. She had the highest point total on the team. Speaking of restricted minutes, let's take a moment to discuss Angel Reese, who was meant to be the show's main attraction.
Look, Angel Reese had a horrific game. Like, a terrible, terrible, terrible game.
However, Reese's stat line conveys a different message. Yes, she watched the most of the game as she scored 4 points in 8 minutes with 3 errors and 4 fouls. With Hull leading the charge, the Rose found their rhythm. The new offensive strategy clicked, creating space and opportunities that simply weren't there before, and suddenly the Rose Basketball Club had their first win in an unmatched season. From the bench, this isn't just about Hull outperforming Reese. It's about how her performance lifted the entire team.
They changed a little bit. She's doing a lot more off-the-ball work. She's doing a lot more cutting, and she's doing a lot of positive, really positive things for the team. And with her defense, I think it's hard. It'd be hard to not give her a look in. Or at least whether you don't want to give her more of a look in, or these are the type of minutes you want to give her. I think it's hard to give her as few minutes as you did initially.
What does this mean going forward? To begin, it raises some serious concerns about Hull's lack of playing time in the past. If she can achieve these kinds of numbers in just 10 minutes, just think of what she could accomplish with more playing time. It's obvious that Hull is more than just a role player. She has the ability to change the game. So, why was she benched for the first 2 games? You know who wasn't riding the pine during those first 2 games? Angel Reese. Here's an insane idea. What if her presence on the court was actually hurting the Rose Basketball Club?
So, yeah, not a good day at the office for Angel Reese.
Let's dissect the first 2 unmatched games. Reese was recording double-doubles, which isn't bad. But guess what? Those stats didn't transfer into victories. The Rose basketball team had 2 significant losses to begin the season, and something wasn't right.
You can imagine missed layups from last night. Man, I mean, what is really going on here? You see that? And then whatever that is. I don't even know what that was. One more time. Oh, my God. I'm going to drive to the basket, and then I'm going to mess the ball up. No layups. Whatever that is. We don't know what that is. They haven't identified exactly what the hell that is.
You may be asking yourself, wait a minute, are those even real double-doubles? And you would be correct, especially given all the excitement over Reese's stat padding.
Rose did win, though, which is all that matters. But, I think it's got to the stage now for the Rose where, even though, look, I don't think in the first 2 games Angel Reese was that bad. I don't think she was brilliant. But it's now got to the stage where you have to play as her.
However, in the most recent game versus the absent basketball club, it gets worse. Reese only played 8 minutes, But during that time, she grabbed 6 rebounds, turned the ball over 3 times, and committed 4 fouls in addition to scoring an incredible 4 points on 2 of 6 shots. Not really what you would expect from a supposed star player, is it?
You have to start Azurá Stevens. Like, there's no question about it. Like, you have to start Azurá. Because Angel Reese, 2 of 6 from the field. She had as many fouls as points. 3 turnovers to 1 assist. Look, it's not ideal.
What was happening was that Reese's style of play simply wasn't working in the fast-paced world of 3-on-3 basketball. Her game was slow and pick-and-roll heavy, which is basically the exact opposite of what you need in this format. In actuality, Reese couldn't finish at the rim. She missed multiple easy looks during these games. Come on, layups are like the bread and butter of basketball. If you can't make those, you're in trouble.
If they had have lost, I know you can't get fired from Unrivaled coaching. I would still be looking to fire Nola Henry. Is it Nola Henry? Like, I would be like genuinely looking at firing the freaking coach if they lost that game.
Fans began to take note as well. One even went so far as to claim that Angel Reese is unmatched and a liability, but can you really blame them? With Reese on the floor, the Rose basketball team's offensive strategy was about as effective as a submarine screen door. Rather than using quick cuts and movement, the things that really work in 3-on-3, they were stuck in this slow plotting style that simply wasn't producing results. It was as if they were playing a completely different game.
But obviously the coach just wanted to run everything through obviously Angel and Chelsea Gray and Kat Copper. That starting lineup. They wanted Copper to be like the late shot clock ISO scorer. They wanted Chelsea Gray to set everything up, and they wanted it to be a lot of pick and rolls.
So, why was Lexie Hull warming the bench for those first 2 games? Because Coach Nola Henry was so preoccupied with trying to get Reese to work that she failed to see the bigger picture and was betting on the wrong horse in the hopes that Reese's individual stats would somehow magically translate into team success. As they say, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Finally, it did. Following Reese's subpar play in the first 2 games, she found herself riding the bench in the 3rd game, and who stepped up? Lexie Hull helped the team win for the first time.
This coach, by the way, was this close to losing the game for them. The best players on the floor were Lexie Hull, Kalia Copper, and Azurá Stevens. You can run that 3. You can run the 3. And in fairness, I don't mind playing Chelsea Gray because, Chelsea Gray she did hit the shot. She was really good in the 4th.
In addition to being a personal triumph, Lexie Hull's breakout performance against the Mist might be a game changer for the Indiana Fever and the Rose Basketball Club. Her performance demonstrated what could happen if Hull is given the go-ahead with players like Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aya Boston is involved. Hull's versatility might be the key component the Fever needs to liven things up in 2025, but here's the big question. Will Coach Nola Henry continue to lead the Hull Express, or will we see a return to the old playbook? If Henry is wise, she will realize that Hull is more than just a role player. She is a difference maker who can contribute on both ends of the floor. You know what? This could be the beginning of something big for Hull and the Rose Basketball Club, but only if they play their cards correctly. Now is the time to see if they can turn it into results. Do you agree? Let us know in the comments. Like and enable all notifications so you never miss a thing. We'll see you in the next one. Click the video on the screen.